Hello, everybody. My name is Matt. Good morning to everyone. Good afternoon. Good night. Today, we are going to talk a little bit about how to generate reports inside of the TagoIO platform. Okay. At the end of the presentation, I am going to take some questions. So if you do have any questions throughout the presentation, make sure that you write them up in the chat, and then later I will answer them. So let's begin. Just going to exit my slideshow. There we go. So as I've mentioned, this little session here, this little webinar is going to be towards generating reports inside of our applications with our data. We are going to generate reports for both PDF and CSV. For the PDF report, this is what it's going to look like. There we go. This is just some, this is the data that I have inside of my dashboard, and it's just a preview of what your report will look like at the end of the session if you follow along. So it looks pretty fancy. So this is what we're going to achieve, okay? So let's head over back to our admin platform here. Here I am in my account. So I have created a brand new account called Tago Tutorials, and I have two dashboards inside of my account. I have a CSV report and a PDF report dashboard, okay? Now let's begin with the PDF report. So if I enter this dashboard, you can see that I have a bunch of data here. I can see that I have my daily production, my soil moisture, the temperature, and the UV level of my farm. So this is a dashboard that has a farm as its base. So we're showing the data from a farm. And our report will also show the data from this farm in a more condensed way. If you guys take a look, you will see that while this dashboard looks very nice, there's a lot of information for us to take in. As soon as we enter this dashboard, you can see that we have a bunch of data here on the top, on the right side as well, and all the data has the same color. So if you're just trying to take a peek or a very quick glance to understand the data, just looking at this dashboard might be too much. What we want to do is basically generate a report, a very simple report that we can just take a look and get the data, understand what's going on with a very quick glance. So to generate this PDF report, what we're going to do is we're going to follow a community tutorial. For those who don't know, community is our portal here. The second tab, we can share ideas, we can talk to each other. So if you guys have any questions or anything regarding the admin platform, make sure you hop on the community website and create a post or read all the posts that we have here. Right now, we are just going to be focusing on generate reports. So if I press this little search icon here and type in PDF, you can see that we have a couple of matches here, but this is the one that we want. And again, just to make sure that you guys understand, I am going to be following this tutorial, but in a more visual way. So this tutorial, of course, it works. You can follow along using this, but this is all written. And I think if you guys have a little bit of a visual contact, you know, a visual side, it's easier to learn how to do it. So to generate the same report that I've showed you guys, we first need to install an analysis template, okay? So to generate this beautiful report here, we need to go over to this line where it says the analysis code can be found clicking here. If we click here, you will see that a new tab has opened up and it says TagoIO PDF report analysis, and you can install this template. Now, of course, I've already installed this template before the presentation, so I'm not going to press this button, but make sure that you do and that you install this template to generate your report. Since I've already installed, I'm just going to close this tab, go over to our admin platform and head over to analysis. Now, as you can see over here, when you install your template, something along those lines will appear right here. It says PDF report analysis. So you just click it to enter, and there you go. Now, what happens is, since you installed a template for an analysis, you basically have all the code necessary to generate your report, which is pretty cool because that means you don't need to write any code to have a very nice looking report. I'm going to walk you guys through the code here, so don't worry if you don't understand exactly what's going on. Okay, I'm going to guide you through it. But before we start, or before I start guiding you through it, we need to understand and we need to configure our report just a tiny bit. Okay, so when you install this PDF report, we need to configure the environment variables for it in this tab right here. So if we click it, you will see that we have two fields, one called email and one called device token. Okay, environment variables are, think of variables that shape up your analysis. They can impact on how your analysis behavior works. So for example, in this email field, we can set an email where the report will be sent to. Okay, so this is our destination. Who do we want to send the report to? Since I created a new account, I'm just going to type in my account, my email, sorry, not my account. And then for the device token, this field indicates the data that we want to show inside of our report. Okay, so how do you mean? Each device inside of TagoIO has a token. A token is basically like a fingerprint for a device. So if we head over to devices here in a new tab, you can see that I have two devices, one for each dashboard. Since we are doing the PDF report, let's just press this one. And right here, we have the tokens section for the device. So tokens are used to access the data inside of a device, okay? I just copied this token called default here by pressing this button, and then I can head over back to my analysis and replace this placeholder like so. Okay, so now we configured our report. Everything should be working fine. So let's just hit save right here. There we go. Now our analysis is saved, but how do we test it? That's the easy part. All you need to do is press this run button right here. This will make sure that our analysis runs and does everything that it needs to deliver the report in our emails, okay? So let's press it. And as you can see, I'm not sure if you guys noticed, it said starting analysis, showing the ID of my analysis, and then it said email sent with success. Basically saying, well, everything worked like it's supposed to. Now, for those of you who are paying a lot of attention, you may have noticed that I have received a new email here. So let's go over to my email and press this email. And then it says, this is the body of your email. You can send some information alongside your report. And then I have a link to download my report or my file. So I click it and it's going to start downloading my file. There we go. And once I click the report, you can see that it's the same report as I've showed you guys before. So let's close this. And it says, and it shows the chart showing the last few days, 7 days to be exact, of my harvest. It shows the maximum weight of my harvest and the minimum weight. It shows the soil moisture, the max UV, and the max soil temperature. One very cool thing that we have in this report is the check live data, okay? This will send our user to our dashboard so he can check the other informations that we have, for example, a more accurate temperature or a more detailed soil moisture. So if we click this right now, as it is, you can see that it sends us to the TagoIO website. And that's not very good for our application, right? So let's head back here and let's go over to our analysis once again, because we have to make some modifications to this base template. There's a lot of code here, so I'm not gonna walk you guys through everything. I'm just going to walk you guys through the most important parts. So here on line 36, we have a JavaScript array showing all the variables that we want to show in our report. Of course, you can change all of these variables. So for example, if you didn't want to show temperature, you can always change this to something else. For example, humidity or anything of the sort. Same thing for soil moisture and for the others, but for the other items. So it's pretty simple. Here on line 46, we have a link. Now it's the same link that we saw just a couple of moments ago, and it says dashboard URL. So this is the thing that we want to modify to affect the link of the button. In the comments, it says change this URL to the dashboard that you want. And this is exactly what we're going to do. So to change this, we need a link for our dashboard, which is pretty easy to get. So let's open our dashboard in a new tab. Copy our link here and replace the old link. There we go. Now, when the user clicks that button, he will be sent to this link right here, okay? If you guys notice, we also have a background image URL. This image is what is being shown in the background of our banner here. We can change that as well. So let's head back over to our analysis here, and I have prepared a very nice image here. So let me replace this right like that. There we go. And we can also change the main color of our report, which is something that is very nice because sometimes you want your reports to match the color theme of your application or your company. So I have separated a very nice color here. This is the color that we show right on the top of our navigation bar inside of admin, just so you guys know. And now that we have modified the base information for our report, let's generate it once again. So I can just press save and run. As you can see, it's starting our analysis on the right side, and it said email sent with success. So let's head back over to our application. There we go. Now we have a new email here, just arrived. Let me open it up, download, and click it once again. Now, as you can see, it's a little bit different from the last one. If I keep switching between both of them, you can see, in my opinion, the blue one looks a little bit better. Maybe it's just because it has Tago's colors in it. But the background also changed, the banner, and also the header of the table here also changed. If we click now this link, you can see that it sent us to our dashboard. Now we can get a very detailed look on how everything is working, which is pretty cool. And you know, this whole process works. You can keep doing this. So for example, you can keep going back to your analysis and, hey, when I want to receive a new report, I just press run. But that's not very good, is it? Because sometimes you want this report to be sent automatically to you. You know, you don't want to keep going to your Tago and just pressing run in your analysis, because going over to the admin platform, it's just a couple of clicks away from going to your actual dashboard, which doesn't make sense. So what we want to do now is create an automated way for you to receive your reports every Friday or every week, for example. And it's pretty easy to do so. For this, we're going to use actions. So if I press this actions button here, you can see that an explanation screen popped up, and this is because I have no action added yet. So I can just press add action. There we go. Now here we have a couple of fields to fill. There's some configuration that we need to set, but it's pretty easy. So if you follow along, first we need the name. So let's say that this action will send PDF every week. This is our goal. And then we have to decide the type of trigger. So when will this action be triggered? In this case, we don't want to trigger by variable. We want to trigger by schedule, which means in a time frame, you know, every couple of days or every week, something along those lines. And then we can specify the type of action, which means what will happen once this action runs. In this case, we are going to run an analysis. So pay attention, everybody. See what I did here? In this action, I linked it to one of our analyses, which means that when this action gets triggered, our analysis will also run, okay? So I have linked my action to my analysis, and then I can specify which analysis to run. And in this case, it's just my PDF report. Once I create my action, I can specify when to run it. In this case, let's specify every 1 week. And there you go, our action is ready. Now, of course, I'm not going to be able to show you guys when it gets triggered because it's going to trigger in a week. If you guys save and look at the very top here, it says next trigger in 7 days. Okay, and you can change this to anything that you'd like. For example, if you want to receive your report every hour, you can do so. In this case, I'm just going to maintain as 1 week. Awesome. So our PDF is almost ready. I just want to address one little thing before I leave here. In our code, we have modified the main information of our report, which means the URL, the banner, the colors, but there's also a very important thing at the bottom of our code. 2 important things, in fact. The first one is this link right here on line 83. This is the template, or should I say the pure template. If we enter this file, you can see that we have the whole design of the screen without the data. So what Tago does in that analysis, it gets this dummy template, and it replaces these fields with the fields inside your bucket. So for example, if you wanted to modify the title of your report, what you would do is you will download this file right here, change the title or change this little text here, maybe change this footer, and then upload this file in your file system right here. By doing so, you can modify pretty much anything inside of the report, okay? Again, this is just if you want to modify a little bit more than the original template allows you to. So if you want to modify the title or change the footer, you need to first download the file, change what you need to change, and then put this file back again inside of your file system and put the correct link here inside of your code, okay? Again, only if you need to modify the title. At the very bottom of our code, we also have a section where it shows another URL, and this is an URL from Tago. So for those who are very familiar with APIs and how to connect using RESTful APIs and that sort of stuff, this is a service that TagoIO offers you to generate a PDF automatically with no cost. So you just pass a base64 to this URL with a post method, and you can pass some extra options, for example, the margin of the PDF sheet. So, and it just generates the whole PDF for you, no charge, no cost. So, you know, this is very, very good if you guys are looking for a service, you know, to generate PDFs inside of the TagoIO analysis. Just a hint for you guys. And now we are done with the PDF report. Okay, so as you can see, we've customized it. I've shown you guys how to change some extra information, for example, the title, and we received our PDFs inside of our email here. Now let's switch to our CSV report. Our CSV dashboard follows the same line of the PDF with one exception. There's not so much data in here. There's only 2 main or crucial pieces of data. We have a temperature and we have humidity. Both of these fields alone don't make sense. Okay, this is not a particular application. It does not make sense on its own. This is just some random data that shows temperature and humidity inside of Tago. Our goal to generate our CSV report is to specify an email, and then the system or the analysis will grab all of the data from the temperature, all of the data from the humidity, put them in a CSV file, and send that CSV file over to our email. Okay, this is our goal right now. Just like the PDF report, we are going to grab the template of our CSV report inside of community, our community. So let's find the community link. I think it's right here. There we go. Now, just before I leave here, just before I leave this page, if you guys have any questions, or if you guys couldn't, for some reason, make the PDF report work, take a look on this post. because it explains a lot of things that I didn't get into detail. So it's a very nice read for everyone that's that wants to. But let's go over to our CSV report. So you know how we search PDF here to get into the PDF report? CSV is the same thing. So we search for CSV, press enter, and it's this first one right here. Perfect. Now, the CSV report follows the same line of the PDF report with one exception. This CSV analysis is not installable, okay? So it doesn't have a template, which means that we can't just press a button and it gets added to our account. We need to manually copy the code and create an analysis and then paste that code inside of our analysis. But it's not difficult to do that. It's very easy. I'm going to show you guys, so don't worry. The first thing that we need before we create the CSV report is to create an analysis. So let's head back to our admin, go over to analysis, and let's create a new one, because once again, this PDF report is not installable. So let's say I want my CSV report analysis. This is going to be the analysis name. You can put anything here, okay? So for example, I could put something along those lines, send CSV report, but just to keep consistent with my other name here in the background, I'm just going to say that the name of my analysis is CSV report analysis. We are going to specify that the runtime is Node.js, but we also have Python for those that are interested. And it's going to run inside of TagoIO, and we don't need any snippets, okay? So let's create our analysis. Now we have a very blank canvas here because we don't have any code. Luckily for us, the CSV report is all, the code is all written for us, so we do need to just copy and paste and it will work. So let's head over back to our community and let's press this link right here where it says the script can be found here. There we go. Now we are inside of GitHub. So let's press this generate reports file. And this is the whole code that you need to generate a CSV report. So since we already created a blank analysis, all we need to do is copy this code and paste it over inside of our analysis. So let's do that. Let's start copying this to the very end. There we go. And then let's hit copy, go over to our analysis and Control V or Command V if you're on Mac. And there we go. Our whole CSV reporting tool is done. But of course, as most of the scripts or templates that you get from inside of the community, you need some extra configuration before you can run it. So remember how in the PDF report, I had to set the email and the device token? Well, in this one, it's pretty much the same, okay? You can see that we don't have any values inside of the environment variables because we created this analysis. We didn't get a template. So we need to fill manually all of the fields required for this CSV. In this case, it's 3 fields that we need. We need the account token, we need the device token, and we also need the dashboard ID. So to make our CSV reporting to work, we need all of these 3 fields. Just a reminder, don't worry if you didn't understand that we need these 3 fields. I only know because I've read the community post. So in there, it will explain that you need both, all of these fields here. Okay, so don't worry if you didn't get it instantly. And now let's fill these variables because we can't leave them empty, right? It just doesn't work like that. The first one is the dashboard ID. So that's pretty easy to acquire. Inside of our CSV report, let's open it in a new tab. There we go. Now to grab the ID, you have 2 choices. You can grab the ID just going to the URL, this section that is selected right now. But if you're afraid that you might copy something that that is wrong or that doesn't take part in the ID, you can go to Edit, Edit Dashboard, go to More, and then copy this ID right here. This is the easiest choice. So let's copy it, go over to our analysis, and paste it here. Now we need to do the same thing for the token. So we already know how to do that because we've done it with the PDF. So let's open a new tab in our devices. I'm opening a lot of tabs here. I'm sorry. Let's close them up a bit. And now let's go over to our CSV Report device and copy our token. Let's paste it here. Now we also need the account token. So let's go over to our account section, profiles. And here we have tokens, okay? Now you can see I don't have automatically generated tokens. We're going to generate a new token called webinar session. The permission is not going to be full. It's going to be read only, and it will expire in an hour. And this is just because account tokens are very sensitive information, and I'm sharing them with everybody on the webinar here. So if somebody uses this token, he will only be able to read the information in my account and not write anything. Okay, very important tip for you guys. And then we can press generate, and of course for security reasons we need to set my password here. And there we go, we have a new token. Expires in an hour, so let's hurry up. Let's copy this token. Let's go back to our analysis and paste it right here. There we go. Now everything is supposed, everything is correct. You know, it belongs, it's right where it's supposed to be. So let's just hit save on our report. And the CSV report does not work if you just press run. And this is because the CSV needs an email. And if you just press run, it doesn't know to which email it must send. Okay. If you guys notice, there's no email variable here, so it doesn't know where to send this information. Because the CSV works a little bit different. We have to send the email directly from our dashboard. Okay. So since I'm testing in my newly created email, let's just put that in here. TagoTutorials@gmail.com, and let's press send. Oh, I'm sorry. Look what happened. Analysis can't be found. And this is because I have not associated an analysis with my form. Look at that. So what I need to do is say, hey, form, when somebody presses this button, I want to run a specific analysis. So we can press this edit mode button to enable editing in our form. Now we press this and edit. And now we are inside of the edit mode for our dashboard. It's a little bit different for those who are not familiar because we are inside a blueprint dashboard. So what we need to do is press this button, and we must specify the analysis that we want to run. In this case, it's CSV Report analysis. And now we hit save. Now it should work. So if we specify TagoTutorials@gmail.com and hit send, you can see that it says report successfully generated. Please check your email. And that's what I'm going to do. So if we go over to our email here, we have a new email in our inbox, and it says report@tago.io. And it says, hi, this is an example of a report. So I can just download it. As you can see, very quick to download. And I'm going to open with my text edit. Just a second, and there we go. Now, as you can see, it put all of the variables that we have off the dashboard inside of this report. We have the temperatures sequentially based on the date and time, and we also have the humidity. So of course, if you were to put this, for example, on Google Sheets or any kind of service that reads CSV file, it would organize and then leave them laid out in a grid-like manner. Okay. Now let's go back to our admin, and I think this is it. I don't think I have anything else to add to you guys. So what we've learned here in this little session is how to implement analysis to send them or to send reports to our emails. And we've learned how important community is because there's a bunch of information there So if you guys are not part of our community, I urge you guys to go check it out. Maybe you learn something that is very nice there. We have a bunch of discussions. Maybe you catch a tip or two there. So it's a very nice place for you to learn a bunch of stuff from admin. Just before I close here, Fabio, do you have anything else to add that I might have missed?
Not really. Just questions here. I can see one right now. For you, Matt, if you can reply. How do we create report for multiple devices?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a very nice question. So if we go over to our analysis here, you can see that inside of our PDF report, we have a specific device in our environment variables. Now this will send, or this will grab the data only for this device. To do multiple devices, you can do one of two options, okay? First, you could define an array here full of device tokens, which means that you could make the same thing with the variables that we've done here and put a bunch of items, each one with a device token. Okay, so this is the first option that you guys have. The second one is to use scope. Okay, now what is scope? Scope is a parameter that you receive inside of your analysis. Okay, it goes like this. And then in this scope, you have everything that was sent to this analysis. How so? Well, if you guys remember, inside of the CSV report, we are sending a specific email to our analysis. And this variable, this value here that we've typed is received inside of our scope. So what you could do is trigger this analysis passing a custom scope with a bunch of device tokens that you want to trigger. And then you could do a loop here. And for each device token that you received, you generate a report and send to a specific email. So those are the two easiest options if you want to use multiple devices or multiple tokens.
Okay, pretty good. And by the way, if anybody have any question here, please feel free just to type here in the chat part, and I'll be glad to answer. There is another question. How much costs to run one report?
Yeah, so there's no cost for report. What happens is when you trigger an analysis, there's a certain pricing plan that you have to take in account for. So for example, here in my usage statistics, I can only run 250 analysis per hour, but for each individual report, there's no limit. Now, as long as you follow this limit inside of your usage statistics, there's no price per generated report.
Yeah, so it's good to remind that even the free plan includes 250 analysis per hour. And also, Matt, can you confirm that you can run more than one report per analysis? You can do that, right? You don't need to run each one separately.
I'm sorry, Fabio, it cut for me a little bit. What did you say?
Oh yeah, if we can run more than one report each time we run one analysis.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. So yeah, that's actually a very nice tip from Fabio. So what happens is, right now we are only running, inside of our analysis, we're sending a single report, right? So what you guys can do is inside of your analysis, you send all of the reports that you need for the day or for the week, okay? So in this case, you can see that this call, it's only a single call. So it's saying, I want to send this information to pdf.tago. What you guys can do is basically copy these lines, make the required adjustments, and send a bunch of reports in a single analysis, okay? And then you can, this is a very profitable scenario because you can do all of the things that you need inside of a single analysis.
Mm-hmm. I have another question here. Following up the question about creating a report for multiple devices, the question is, does this analysis can work with tags?
Work with tags. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think what it means is, well, we can associate tags with it inside of this analysis. But to trigger this analysis, I think he means inside of the action, right? If I'm not mistaken.
No, it means in the analysis, I think that the point maybe is you have tags in the device or users, so you can identify,
Okay.
you know, you can use that tags to customize your analysis. I think that's what he means.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. So yeah, you can do that. You need to make some calls to our API. So we have a very nifty system inside of Tago where you can get all of the devices with a specific tag key and tag value. So what you would do is you would use our API at TagoIO /SDK, and then grab all of the devices with a specific tag key and value, and then grab those tokens from those devices and generate the report then. But yes, that is achievable. If you guys are interested in what I've just said, take a look in our documentation center right here. There's a bunch of information on how to send data and how tags work. And also take a look in the SDK documentation, because that explains a lot on which calls you should make to grab devices with a specific tag.
Okay, good. Don't see any other question here in our chat. Let's give a couple of seconds. Okay, the person replied with a thank you, so it should be clear. Yeah, no more question, Matt. I think you can close then. And as you said, we have a lot of documentation, and also people can access our community or open ticket if they have an additional question.
Okay, yeah, so thank you, everybody. And I hope to see you in our next webinar.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.